Multiple studies are showing that emotional abuse and neglect cause the most severe and long-lasting mental health problems of all types of childhood maltreatment. And it's not because physical and sexual abuse aren't devastating. It's because in emotional abuse, our internal defense system, the very thing that helps keep us alive, isn't there. Hi friends, I'm Jess. I'm a therapist, a coach, and a survivor of an emotionally abusive childhood. Today, I'm going to talk about another piece of the abuse puzzle that's finally locked into place for me. And to be honest, I do feel a little bit slow finally figuring this out. In a way, I kind of feel like I always knew it, but I hadn't fully grasped it until now. And it's this. That not only is emotional abuse real, it is now the most commonly reported type of abuse. And research shows that its negative effects last longer than other types of abuse. We've long recognized physical abuse and sexual abuse. Even verbal abuse is finally on the radar. But emotional abuse has been hiding in plain sight for decades. But of course, this isn't about who suffered more. It's not a race to the bottom. It's more about if you've lived through emotional abuse and you thought somehow it didn't count, you deserve to know this. The damage is not less real just because there weren't bruises to photograph. It very much counts. I also see that there is a nuance here. It's not just one kind of abuse over another, because physical abuse and sexual abuse at home are almost always going to come wrapped in emotional abuse. The shame, the blame, the gaslighting. We would be told they wouldn't have done it if we hadn't provoked them. If we were a better kid, they wouldn't have had to do it. Or perhaps even we were just the very special one. And so somehow it always comes back to us being the problem, and it's our fault we were being abused. It's a way to hide injuries whilst they're out in the open. They're camouflaged by stories around where the fault lies. And really that's where the wounds fester. It's where the stories take root deep within us. Because the physical wounds, they can heal, but the mental scars, they can live on for decades, for a lifetime, unless we actually do the work to heal them. But this is where it gets even more complicated, because it's not just the harm that causes us problems. I'll talk you through it. In a healthy childhood, we are raised to build natural defenses. We grow and build a nervous system that helps us understand the difference between harm and safety, and we can understand easily which one we're dealing with. A healthy childhood will also foster a sense that there's always going to be someone around who will protect us. The third piece that hopefully most of us learn is that our basic needs matter. And combined, these make up a large part of our natural defenses. They're like an internal armor. They help us take life's knocks without crumbling. The problem is, though, that in a home where there is emotional abuse or neglect, these defenses never get built. We're like a fawn that's born without spots to hide us. We're the albino in the herd. We're standing way out in the open. We've got no defenses, and the predators are circling. So we're alive, but we're unprotected. And the worst part of it is that we don't even realize this. We don't know that we don't have what we need to help keep us safe. The good news, however, is that this is now coming onto society's radar, and there is a lot of good science that is really giving legitimacy to this. Multiple studies are showing that emotional abuse and neglect cause the most severe and long-lasting mental health problems of all types of childhood maltreatment. And it's not because physical and sexual abuse aren't devastating. It's because in emotional abuse, our internal defense system, the very thing that helps keep us alive, isn't there. And this defense system, scientists call it resilience. It's the ability to adapt, bounce back, cope, and stay upright. Resilience includes emotional regulation, self-worth, hope, and the belief that you're allowed to need help. But resilience doesn't appear by magic. It is built through care, connection, and being seen. Caregivers and our early environment are meant to teach that to us. But one recent study showed that of all types of childhood maltreatment, emotional abuse and neglect had the strongest link to impaired resilience. And that means poorer coping skills, lower self-esteem, more anxiety, instability, and illness. So the thing with emotional abuse, it's not because survivors are weak or they're hypersensitive or they really need a lot of special treatment. It's because they were never given what they needed to have to survive. It's like being sent into battle with no training, no weapons, no protection, and being expected not to get hurt. It just doesn't work like that. And this is my perspective now, but some of us from really difficult homes learnt that not only resilience wasn't taught, but it was targeted. In some homes, if we had any armor, if we had any defense system, that was seen as a threat and something to be crushed. It was a form of rebellion, and it was something that would not be tolerated. So when emotional abuse is constant, it's not just a series of bad experiences. It's more like the demolition of our relationship with ourselves. We learn over and over that our feelings aren't safe to have. Our needs aren't safe to express. And worse, we get told that our instincts are wrong, that that knot in our stomach is lying to us. That no, you're misinterpreting it. No, that was safe. You just felt odd. Our natural self-protection gets overridden by someone else's agenda. And when that becomes our baseline, it gets really, really difficult. We live confused, scattered. Our defenses misfire or collapse entirely. Every future stressor hits harder and we lose ourselves. When we lose our identity, we lose everything, and we have to cling on to a misguided hope that the people around us will somehow, possibly, hopefully, step up and protect us when we need them. Except they don't. So friends, yes, this is pretty dark stuff when we look at it like this. And yet, here we are, which means we did learn to survive, despite it all. We developed strategies to cope. We learned how to read a room like a survival manual. We learned to absorb criticism without even blinking. Paste the smile on. Don't show anything. Keep your cards close to your chest. And we learned to keep the peace. Don't speak out no matter what, even when we are screaming internally. Because the alternative, we have learned, is so much worse. And so in a way that is a type of resilience, but it's resilience that's aimed in the wrong direction. What we're actually doing is we're using our resources to protect the other people around us, so they don't have to look at the consequences of their actions. They don't have to reflect on what they're doing. They can act out in any way that they want, and we will be the buffer for them. It worked for us when we were younger because that was the way we protected ourselves, by protecting other people. And that's what we have to do when we're in a toxic environment and we can't leave. But there comes a point when we can, and we have a choice. And then we can change our strategy. The work now is to reroute our resilience. We take all that grit, all that endurance, all those sharp, hard-earned skills, but we redirect them towards protecting ourselves. Because we were never meant to be somebody else's shock absorber. We were never meant to keep holding a line so other people could continually keep crossing it. We are allowed to build the defenses that we never had. We are allowed to make our safety our priority. And when we do, finally all that strength that we've learned to keep ourselves safe will now be working for us and not for anybody else. Friends, thank you so much for being here. If you like the video, you can subscribe. Please leave a comment below. It helps everybody else in the community, and it lets me know how you're doing, what you find interesting, what your perspective is, and how I can make more videos that would be helpful. If you need extra support, I do one-on-one coaching. You can check out my website for that. As always, friends, please take care of yourself, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.